TV umpire to director, we have a review. Can you rock and roll it for me, please?
Welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll It, or some people are calling it the Beards Podcast. And while the facial hair may not be perfectly sculpted, the insights and opinions on this podcast definitely are. And I've got with me Sid Monga and Karthik Krishnaswamy KK. It's been about a week since the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. So first, let me ask you, how many times in this past week have you watched that Mohammad Siraj ball to Gus Atkinson, and in what weird places have you watched it?
Uh, Multiple times, but mostly just while like scrolling through like Twitter and various I'm not sought it out because it's come to me whether or not I've gone looking for it. And yeah, I've not yeah, I can't think of any weird places or unusual places where I've been watching it. Uh yeah.
Siddharth, are you ever in an unusual place, or is every place you watch is unusual?
And yeah, there are no usual places, but I've not watched even once.
Oh,
Any
wow.
replays or anything of the series, I'm in that phase post series where I don't want to have anything to do with the series, but I am also weirdly missing it. Mostly
So,
missing the routine and the sense of purpose that was there in life for the last 2 months. But I'm not actually missing the actual cricket so much, or I haven't sought to watch. It hasn't shown up anywhere, so I've been quite away from cricket mostly.
I think
so
we
this is
need
like going cold turkey after an addiction, basically.
Yeah.
we also like to kind of preempt the topic. We also need our workloads managed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
have to
that is
admit,
not happening. That is not happening. No.
yeah, we'll get to the topic. I was in a handloom store in Kerala where I was on holiday. And while my 6-year-old was trying on clothes, I was reading Osman Samiuddin's excellent piece, calling it the most bingeable series. And while reading that, I felt this impulse to watch Mohammad Siraj's last ball to Gus Atkinson. So I did watch it in Fort Kochi. That's one weird place. I also saw a picture of it this morning on Kumar Dharmasena's Facebook page. Slightly surprising. I'm actually a
What an
little
umpire.
surprised. I'm a bit surprised he didn't give it out just to clarify, just to be a part of that moment. But anyway, on the subject of umpiring, we're going to be rock and rolling something today, but we're going to be doing it a bit differently. We're not looking so much into the past now. We're looking ahead, and we're looking at what India need to do to develop a good fast bowling department for Test cricket on the back of this Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. Where do India go from here in terms of their fast bowling? And I'm going to start with the topic of Jasprit Bumrah, who I think is slightly unfairly being the butt of some criticism just because India happened to win the two tests without him. Some people are saying, well, Mohammad Siraj bowled these many overs, so why does Bumrah need to have his workload managed? Obviously, every fast bowler's body is very different, and we'll get into the injury issues that Bumrah has. But Siddharth, what do you think India need to do now with Bumrah? How do they manage his workload and how do they keep him relevant in Test cricket?
Yeah, I mean, they have to selectors, captain, vice captain, coach, and Bumrah himself, with inputs from the experts in the with the team at the Center of Excellence, or NCA as we used to know it as. They have to work out a plan where they decide. Firstly, they kind of work out what is the ideal work he can put in, and then they decide these are the tournaments and the series that most we need him most for. And then if you get anything else, that's bonus. But that's how you work with him. Uh, Off the top of my head, I would think Asia Cup, T20 World Cup, IPL, the Test series at home against the New Zealand tour, and Test series against Australia in early 27, which will be just before the ODI World Cup. So these are the six big events from now till the ODI World Cup in South Africa. Uh, just to recap: Asia Cup, T20 World Cup, IPL, the test series in New Zealand, the test series against Australia at home, and the ODI World Cup. Now, how can let's start from there. Can we have him for all the 6 events? The big challenge will be the Border Gavaskar Trophy at home and the ODI World Cup following soon on its heels. Can we have him available for them? How much can he? How much can he play during those events? And what extra bonus can we get out of him? He's he's a bowler who's unlike any other in the world. His stats show that he's got an action that is not easily picked. So he is a clear asset to the team, which has to be used very smartly and wisely, and not pay heed to people who are saying. And actually, those people are a very small minority. They just happen to be former cricketers. So I don't think we need to pay attention to them even here. And that's something even Bumrah will do well to not pay heed to. Yeah, and it's where his body is. And can we also kind of have him 3 months, 2 months off, completely off, which means take him off this routine of travel, play, travel, because we just count the number of overs bowled in IPL. But the problem with IPL is the odd hours, the travel, schedule, which does not let you build a routine where you need to build strength. So can we also have him like a couple of months where he just builds strength? So all
But
these
is
things,
that the best thing for his body, or will 2 months without any bowling actually be detrimental to his fitness?
I mean, he can. Again, the experts have to work out a
Yeah.
plan. How much does he need to bowl in those 2 months? But the main thing is to build strength, which will come during in those couple of months he can have a proper program to come back a stronger bowler, a stronger human. So
Yeah,
yeah,
KK, you want to weigh in?
Sorry?
I said, do you want to weigh in on what you think India should do with Bumrah? And
Yeah.
specifically, does he play the Asia Cup, for example? If you're talking about having a 2 month break, this might be the time to do it. I mean, India can win the Asia Cup probably without Bumrah, given the strength of the other teams. You already know that he's going to be in the T20 World Cup squad. It's a chance to look at other fast bowlers. Maybe one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be fine with him missing the Asia Cup as well. And again, to come to that point of the thing that is surprises me sometimes is that, one of the former players who was quoted recently as saying what he did, he was a selector very recently, like chief selector. And you would hope that like somebody, when they are in that position, would be a little more enlightened about these things. But yeah, uh, that's as much as I would say about that. But as far as Bumrah goes, like even this series, like India got 3 tests out of him, and how many of the fast bowlers on both sides played 3 tests of that series? Like apart from Siraj, Wokes, and Stokes, nobody else played 4 or 5. Uh, so
Tung played 3, I think, or 4.
who?
Tung
Sorry,
might have played
I
4. Tung might have
Tung.
played 4.
No, I think Tung
Tung
played three.
played
I think
3.
Kas
Tung.
did play four, if I'm not mistaken. I think Kas
Hmm.
played the first four and missed the fifth.
Yeah.
And yeah, Akashdeep played just a three. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, Akashdeep played just a three. Prasid played just a three. So yeah,
Yeah, and in some of these cases, say Akash Deep, like it was also fitness issues that kept him out of one of the tests, at least the fourth test, right? So
And
I mean,
Akash was visibly struggling in the other 2 tests with his fitness. Out of the
yeah,
3 that he played, he was struggling in 2.
yeah. So you know, fast bowling, it's very routine for like fast bowlers to miss tests, especially in a long series, right? So what happened with Bumrah here wasn't remarkable in that sense. What was the pre-announcing of it, and I think India did that to kind of, you know, explain things before they happened so everybody would understand, but it ended up creating room for this kind of like, nonsense that
it
went.
was also to explain why he wouldn't be captain. That was a big part of why they
Yeah,
pre-announced it.
yeah, that yeah, there was that as well. So for all those reasons, they pre-announced it. So the pre-announcement makes the missing of the in-between tests look a little worse than it was, when it should ideally make it look better than it was, because you know that this is a guy with a history of serious back issues, who's had one very recently and has just come out of it. So maybe this is him giving the absolute best physically that he can give to this team, which he has done. So that's that's probably how it's going to continue. I just wait to hear more from the experts in terms of, okay, in long future series, will this same situation continue or not? But otherwise, like, I'd say, to add to Sid's point, like, in the home series, like the next two that India play are like two test series. And also in home series, fast bowlers tend to bowl much shorter spells with longer breaks in between. So I can see him playing all four. Whether India want him to or not is a different question. Whether he would be better off resting, or that's a different question. But I don't think it'll take out as much of his from his body as playing a series in England or Australia would.
Yeah, one of the things I found a bit
Just one thing I
sorry,
wanted to add to that background of the injury to Bumrah. That injury also happened because he was poorly used in Australia. He played all of the 5 Test matches, and it was all of the 5 Test matches. There were only three strike bowlers at a given time. So he did not have that proper rest cycle where he is like the optimum use of a fast bowler is in a test series. So that also kind of played a role in him getting injured. So that is another thing that the Indian team management, which is very immediate team management, has to really work out now there's a long time before India go on to tours where fast bowlers will be used extensively. There will be only a 2 Test series in New Zealand before the 27 World Cup. But they need to realize that they need to use fast bowlers well. They are big assets. You cannot bowl them into dirt.
Yeah. This is
Whoever
this.
it is, Siraj or Bumrah or Akashdeep or Prasidh Krishna, you cannot bowl them into dirt. You have to have proper distribution of overs between them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
This.
it was unfortunate the way Siraj's achievement was being turned into a negative and used as a stick to beat Bumrah with. And one thing I think we should make clear is that there's a bit of a misrepresentation that Bumrah is missing tests because he just doesn't have the appetite or he doesn't have the passion. It's not that he's afraid of waking up sore the next morning. He is afraid of literally waking up in a hospital and being told that he can't play cricket again. That's what is at stake for somebody who has had the issues that he has had. He had a stress fracture in 2019. A lot of athletes never come back from back stress fractures. He managed to come back after just 3 months after that one. And then in 2022, he again began experiencing back spasms. That's when he went eventually for surgery in New Zealand. So clearly, it's a very serious issue that needs to be dealt with at any moment. If he is overbowled, again, just to stress on what the situation is, if he were to get an injury, and many people have said this, Shane Bond, who had similar injuries, has said this, that if Bumrah were to get another stress fracture now in his back or another serious injury, that might be the end of his career. And that doesn't help India, right? That doesn't help India if Bumrah is not around till the 2027 ODI World Cup in South Africa or the 2027 WTC final, should India make it there. So that's one thing I think, again, people who are now criticizing Bumrah should keep in mind that it's also in India's interest. It's not just in his interest, it's in India's interest to make sure that his career is as long as possible. One of
And
the criticisms, though, that might be valid is there was this story that in England, he picked playing the Lord's Test perhaps based on the prestige of that venue. And that may be where some of the disconcertment is within the team management, that yes, his workload needs to be managed, but we need to be able to decide which tests he played. That can't be based on his preferences. Also, within tests, there were a few rumblings that there were times in tests that he didn't want to bowl when the captain wanted him to bowl. Again, is that something that a captain just needs to manage within a game? He needs to trust his senior fast bowler that he knows when his body is feeling fit enough to bowl and when he needs a break. And again, coming to the series now, I think the rumblings are, again, he wants to play one test against West Indies, one against South Africa. Would that be okay with you, or would you say no? Let's play him in both tests against South Africa. That's where he'll be more useful. Let him rest the West Indies series.
I see. Firstly, I don't know whether these rumblings are true or not. This could be some mischief coming out of somewhere, and it might not be true. Within what discussion happened between Shubman Gill, Gautam Gambhir, Rishabh Pant, Jasprit Bumrah, and Ajit Agarkar, we don't know. Whether they were desperate for him to play the second test, which was where there was a 10-day break, not 10-day, 7-day break between the two tests, and then you know level the series and then see where you go. We don't know whether that happened or not. So I really cannot comment on it. And I'm sure they made a decision which was best for both him and the team. Uh, uh, his break so it would be, very presumptuous to say that Bumrah was picking and choosing, which is something on the record the team management has always denied. That he's not picking and choosing. We are in collusion, all of us deciding what is best for him and for the team. So that's not an issue. One test against South Africa and one against West Indies could be because in India, these test series do not have breaks, right? So if the match goes the distance, let's say it starts on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, there will be 3-day break. Tuesday, you will go in traveling. Wednesday, Thursday, 2-day break, and Friday, you're bowling again if you lose the toss. So that is something perhaps he wants to guard against. So that's why, if that is true that he has requested to play 1-1 test in both the series, that's a fair request because because the two test match series happen just completely just finish in 2 weeks. So that should not be an issue if he wants to do it that way. Ideally, you would say, listen, let's try this other fast bowlers in these two series because we do not want to give debuts on big away tours like it happened with Anshul Kamboj. We should not be desperate situation to give debuts. In the last, whatever, 20, 30 years, only Siraj and Bumrah are the two bowlers who made their debuts on away tours and have had decent careers. Everybody else has either been a desperate pick like Vinay Kumar or Pankaj Singh, or they have not been ready like Anshul Kamboj. So best to avoid it, best to have them ease into their test careers at home, and then you get to know what they bring. If there is some slack, the spinners can pick it. So ideally, if he's not fully fit, let him rest. Give him that period to build his strength. Uh, so yeah, I mean, whatever the rumblings were, they're not verified. So it's best not to comment on them.
With this leads me nicely into the next topic, KK, which is how do India now keep the fast bowlers they found outside of Bumrah and Siraj relevant at home? Right? You've identified so between 2023 and 2025, India named 14 different seamers in squads.
Wow.
Because if you
14.
remember, yeah, because they started with Mukesh Kumar Jaidev Unadkat, who played a few tests. There have been Navdeep Saini and Avesh Khan named in squads but never played a test. Yash Dayal was named in a squad. I'm also including
Arshdeep Singh.
Arshdeep,
Arshdeep Singh, Shardul Thakur. Yeah.
Harshit Rana, Shardul Thakur. I'm including Nitish Kumar Reddy in this. So quite a few seamers were named but not played. I'm including Anshul Kamboj as well. Now it seems like finally you've got Akashdeep and Prasidh as the next two after Bumrah and Siraj. But the question is, how do you keep them relevant at home? Because at home, we expect spinning conditions. But should India actually be looking ahead and thinking, let's create conditions at home which at least give us the opportunity to play maybe three seamers or two seamers and a seam bowling all rounder that keeps these guys relevant so that what we don't want is Akashdeep and Prasil to be playing their next test in New Zealand, right? That's what I would think at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that Akashdeep will find a role in home conditions because he's really, he's shown that on Indian pitches he bowls the ideal length. Where he hits the top of the stumps and he's taken lots of new ball wickets and like a lot of his workload in India will be with the new ball as well, right? I don't see him not. I mean, he'll be part of squads and he'll probably play 2 out of 4 tests or 3 out of 4, or you know he's likely to be play that kind of role at home, kind of a Umesh Yadavish situation I can see developing for him. Prasid, it's a little trickier because we don't know. Maybe he could like blow like a team away in home conditions, or we don't know that yet. But right now, his attributes look like they're more suited to pitches with more bounce in them, more seam movement. So yeah, the I think the thing that really helped India during the period where they had like a lot of fast bowling bench strength was uh, they were playing a lot of eight overs. They were going on a lot of eight overs, and all of these fast bowlers were getting to play a lot of red ball cricket against good teams in conditions they had not really experienced at home. And so India were getting to like find out, okay, these guys have these kind of attributes that can work here. Or Siraj, I think he's taken more India A red ball wickets than pretty much anyone else, right? So I think India would want to like uh, kind of increase their India A touring and also home series sort of workload, like play more matches basically. I think that's one way to like keep that pool, however big a pool it is, to keep them ready, keep them playing, and to know, okay, who is in form, who is in rhythm, who is the right person to introduce into a test match without like being like uh without it being kind of you're throwing him into the unknown.
More than 8 overs, I will also want, and this is where the BCCI has been completely missing, uh, that you identify your uh, fast bowlers at the age of 15, 16, and then you like really work on them. There's no like Cricket Association of Bengal has actually shown BCCI the way in how they did a talent hunt in Bengal, and they found Akash Deep and Mukesh Kumar, who would not have made it to the teams otherwise. And they looked after their fitness, their health, their nutrition. They basically developed these two guys out of nothing. So BCCI never does that kind of thing where it has a pool of fast bowlers. Either through MRF Pace Academy, with which it has cut ties now, either should have some academy which is, you know, researching, working, keeping data, building like almost manufacturing fast bowlers. Because if you are going to go by Ranji Trophy, you will get only workhorses. Ranji Trophy, there's nobody bowling consistently 135 even. Like Unadkat is the leading wicket taker from like 2-3 years ago. Last year it was Anshul Kamboj. Before that, before that it was Akashdeep in 2022-23. That's after that there hasn't been a fast bowler who has come up. It's all medium pace. So India, BCCI needs to have like a proper talent hunt where it identifies fast bowlers from from age group or even outside the system. From outside the system, there's so many guys who come from outside the system. Siraj was not a part of the systems until he was 17, 18. So you bring them in, you train them, you build their workloads, you look after their nutrition, you look after their workloads, and you actually there's India have only chanced upon fast bowlers in this, even in this era where India have had good fast bowling. It's mostly been individual brilliance or bloody mindedness that has actually worked for India. It's not systems that have worked. I still don't see a system in place in Indian cricket to develop fast bowlers.
I'm curious to know what's happened with those fast bowling contracts that India had last year, and what that means for those 4-5 bowlers that they identify.
That's
Like,
just another paragraph in the press release, and also gets them some cookie points, so to speak. Otherwise, where are they? Where is Navdeep Saini? I think Saini was given one. I don't know who else was
Yeah.
given, but
Saini has been named in squads, but not actually played a test. He didn't play, or did he play in the West Indies? I think he didn't play in the West Indies either, but he was
no,
in
he
that
played in
squad.
Australia. He played that BGT
Yeah,
one test and he got injured mid-test.
yeah, and he was
he
named
played
in
in
squads
at
over
the
the last
GABA
2 years,
also.
but yeah.
He was at the non-strikers
Yeah,
end when Pant hit the winning runs, but
Hmm.
He didn't bowl much
He,
because he got injured.
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, I mean he came back into the squad in the past couple of years,
Hmm.
but he didn't play. Avesh Khan was also in a few squads, but didn't end up playing a test. In terms of the home test itself, again, do I come back to should India do a little bit of what England has done, where they've said our main aim is the Ashes in Australia, so we are going to create pitches at home where it doesn't really swing and seam because we want fast bowlers who can bowl in Australia. Of course, I'm not suggesting India roll out green pitches and invite Kagiso Rabada and Marco Jansen to come bowl on them, but there have been times in the past where India have created pitches where at least the fast bowlers are somewhat relevant, right? If you look at the previous quintet of bowlers India had, Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, Ishant, Umesh, a lot of them actually did well in home conditions as well. In fact, Ishant, Shami, and Umesh in particular had a really good stretch of home tests. There were series like one against Bangladesh where the ball actually did more for the seamers. There was a series in 2019 against South Africa where these three fast bowlers outperformed South Africa's fast bowlers. They outperformed Rabada and co. Is there a case now to say, let's create pitches where we can play three fast bowlers and you can still play three spinners because India has so many spin bowling all-rounders. Or you can play a fast bowling all-rounder and Nitish Reddy, two fast bowlers and two spinners or three spinners because India have that kind of depth in all-rounders now.
It's just
No.
a conspiration to keep Kuldeep Yadav out.
You can get Kuldeep Yadav in. Okay, this is so you can have Jadeja at
No, you're
six,
giving the team
Washington
management more
seven,
reasons.
Kuldeep eight, and three fast bowlers.
If Kuldeep was to play at 8, he would have played in England, no?
But in home conditions, surely he can bat at eight.
No, they don't. That is the problem. The team management does not know how good Indian team is, how good the Indian spinners are, which is why it created those pitches last year, which brought lesser spinners into the game. You don't need those kind of pitches for Indian spinners to succeed. I mean, the best pitches that India can play on are the ones that we saw in the series against England or the one that we saw in 2019 in the series against South Africa. It does not take the spinners out of the game, but it it makes everyone work a little harder. It keeps the fast bowlers in the game, and those are the pitches that India have been used to playing on. So there's no reason why India should not play on them.
And the other reason is I mean, like flat first innings pitches are best for like India's fast bowlers as well and their spinners because it shows that quality gap between Indian spinners and the away spinners, and that's crucial. Like if you take that away, then you increase the chance of it becoming a lottery. And having just lost your last home series 3-0, there is no way India are going to even like remotely consider the possibility of bringing, say, West Indies are next. They have a really good fast bowling attack. There's no
Yeah,
way India are going to want to bring them into the game. So, the development of India's next generation of fast bowlers is secondary to winning that series and like making sure
Okay.
that they get, good results out of that series.
Okay, so how do India then develop a seam bowling all-rounder? Because that's another huge hole India have had in their team. Ca is Shardul Thakur even in the mix anymore? And with Nitish Kumar Reddy, I know he's injured now, but is there a way for him to play home tests at all, or do we just have to wait for India's next away series for him to play again?
I
I
would,
think India are onto something with Nitish Reddy. Uh, the captain also showed more trust in him than he showed in Shardul Thakur, and uh, he has. I mean, this was a freak injury. I think it was an impact injury in a gym. So other than that, he also has the fitness. I think maybe bowling workloads require a different kind of fitness, and he has to build it up, which he can build outside Test matches also, either through Ranji Trophy or A-team games or just in the nets. But basically, India are onto something with Reddy. They can have somebody in Reddy. They can have finally, think of somebody who can bowl, who can give them 10 overs in a day and bat at 7 or 8 or 6 or whatever. So the other one, I mean, ideally you want two. The second one has to come from somewhere. You cannot kind of manufacture all rounder from out of nowhere.
yeah. And I don't see how Reddy gets into the team in India. Uh, he just has to like, build up his workloads outside, like Monga said, play Ranji Trophy, play as many red ball matches as he can. And India will want to focus on that, like make sure that he gets that red ball workload in. Somehow find a way to create that for some players, and Reddy is definitely one of them, one of those key players, I feel. Yeah, but I don't see him playing any of these four tests in India. It's going to be two fast bowlers. It's going to be a bunch of spin bowling all-rounders, and hopefully Kuldeep.
It's a very good example is Glenn Phillips. I've actually, literally seen his development as a spinner in front of my eyes. He, during all through the 2023 ODI World Cup, he used to finish his nets and do either before his nets, which is with the team, which is his routine requirement, or after those nets. He would just come and bowl at a single stump for like half an hour every day to build muscle memory to keep bowling a good length again and again, which is something I have. He has shown that it's doable. He was a wicket keeper batter, if you remember, and then wicket keeping is not going to be his. So he has to find a place for himself in the side. So he adds this skill to his primary batting skill by doing it while doing everything else at the nets outside. Like, for example, the practice nets are outside the main stadium. He will bring one of the assistant coaches with him, and he will just keep bowling at a single stump for an hour while others are doing their fielding drills or whatever. So that it can be done. You can actually build a bowler outside match situations also, and he was pretty useful against India in that Test series that New Zealand won.
Yeah, he must have been doing that at Gujarat Titans also because they refused to give him a game.
I think it was very smart of either him or the team management or whoever, because he gives the ball a rip. Like he's not just one of those part-timers who floats it up and hopes.
But
So there
even
was
that is built, even that he
yeah,
built over those bowling to no one at all. Just
yeah.
hours and hours of that bowling. He built those revolutions on the ball and still being able to land it and still getting the body used to bowling so many overs. So that can be done.
So on Akash and Prasidh, who are two guys who India need to develop now, what are the skills that they need to work on in your eyes? With Akash, one of the big stories is his skills with the new ball against the old ball. Most of his wickets have come with the new ball. I think he's taken just 4 or 5 test wickets out of about 28 in his career with a ball that's more than 25 overs old. How does he work on that? Of course, the SG ball is very different from balls that he might bowl with on India's next tours. Sometimes the SG ball does reverse, although Akashdeep, I have seen him reverse the ball a bit in Duleep Trophy. So maybe that's something he can do. But then when he has to bowl with the Kookaburra, will that reverse? What do you see him needing to add to be able to take some wickets with the old ball at least, or at least be someone who's steady in that phase, even if he's not as dynamic as he is with the new ball?
So I mean, Akashdeep, I think the record is kind of exaggerated by the fact that one of the series where he's bowled a lot in is this England tour, where the Duke's ball has gone soft and not really given anyone anything with the old ball, not just him. So if he hasn't taken wickets, the others haven't taken that many either. And in India, otherwise he played in Australia where he went past the edge a lot. So with old and new ball. So I don't see him as lacking the skills to do that at all. And what he's played in India is like he's bowled a few overs with the new ball, taken wickets, and then largely it's been down to the spinners. I was at Ranchi for his debut test. He bowled on day one. He got 3 wickets, all with the new or newish ball, and after that he didn't bowl in the second innings at all, I think. And uh, after that, it was mostly like spin, like from both teams. It just became one of those test matches where the fast bowlers didn't bowl much at all, especially in the second innings. So you put all that together and you get this lopsided record of, very good record with the new ball and uh, looks kind of ordinary with the old. So I think I'd wait before passing judgment because I'm pretty sure he can reverse the ball, like you've said, and he bowls a sharp enough pace. The one thing is like because he's broken down a couple of times during test matches where, uh, two of the three tests he played, as Monga said, in England, he wasn't at full fitness. So maybe there is something there for him to work on to like be more durable and to make sure that he's bowling at his quickest in his second and third spells as well. And maybe that helps in improving his old ball record as well as just playing more and natural, the natural law of averages catching up with his stats.
Maybe what India should do with their fast bowlers is home test is after they bowl their first spell, send them out into the nets like Glenn Phillips was doing and let them bowl there at least because they're not going to bowl in the test match after that.
Yeah, but I'm like really worried about his fitness now. He is he played first back-to-back test he played in England. He broke down, and then he missed a test. He came back. Perhaps he was not 100%, and it was India were desperate for him to play in that final test. But there have been issues where when his workload increases, his body has kind of struggled to keep up with it, which is where the medical staff needs to come in and see whether it is a nutritional issue, a diet issue. Historically, I mean, because he's not come from the most privileged background, so he India need to like really work on getting him stronger and fitter more than his own field skills. I think his own field skills are good enough. He just needs to be fitter and stronger so that his intensity is up through the day and his body does not break down.
Yeah. Who else outside this group excites you as a fast bowling prospect for India? They've tried Harshit Rana, who's tall. I think he's a very good white ball bowler, but perhaps needs to work on his red ball skills. There's Arshdeep Singh, who hasn't been tried, but of course gives you something different with the left arm angle. There are other guys who've impressed in white ball cricket, but we haven't seen much of them in red ball cricket. Who else do you think might be someone India look at over the next year to 18 months?
See, I'm not going to lie. I was excited about Anshul Kamboj from what I'd seen of him in the IPL and from what I'd seen of the data from him in the IPL. He had a higher release than most of the people. He was getting seam movement, which kind of creates that illusion of the heavy ball because seam movement does not give you time to adjust to the ball. So you feel like, oh, it's coming quicker and it's hitting the bat higher. And so he he also came recommended by quite a few people who should know. I feel that it was like a failure at many levels that he was not ready for his test debut. It passed through many filters where at least somebody should have flagged something that hey, he does not look conditioned well enough to start a test match. It has done him no favors. It has made him look very ordinary, whereas I think he has more to give. Perhaps you want to keep him you want to keep an eye on him and not completely discard him after that test match at Old Trafford, where like his pace was down by about 10 kmph from his usual pace in the IPL. Some of it, like 2-3 kilometers an hour, was due to the soft outfield and the landing area, which everybody experienced. Bumrah, Archer, everybody's pace was down, and some of it was lack of conditioning to be. He just got off a flight and bowled one spell on a damp pitch in the nets and looked very impressive, and he was just put into the test side, which is not how test sides should operate, where they should be more deliberate in what they do. uh, Other than that, Anshul Kamboj is there. I will still keep an eye on him. I would not discard him. Ashdeep Singh has shown he's fit. He can bowl long spells. He can bowl, but his pace is also about 135. You have to see him, perhaps play him in one of the home test matches and see what kind of release does he get in red ball cricket, what kind of seam movement he gets. Because you want to, I wouldn't mind, one established fast bowler playing 4 test matches and the other being a debutant. I don't mind 4 debutant fast bowlers either in all 4 test matches if you have 4 guys. But definitely, Arshdeep should get a debut in one of those 4 test matches at home. Uh, Perhaps, I mean, I think Yash Dayal will be out of the scheme of things now for a while. Yash Dayal was somebody they were excited about because he also used to get seam movement.
Khalil is the
Uh,
other left armer who they took to Australia. as a
Hmm.
reserve. Apparently, the
Hmm.
Australian batters who played him in that tour game were quite impressed with how he was bowling. So he's somebody else on the radar. Again, a few fitness issues with him as well
Hmm.
in terms of bowling long spells.
And Harshit Rana has all the ingredients, you know. He just needs to, but I think what he needs is a season of first class cricket to build his control. He has the ingredients. He has the high release. He has decent pace. He has the brain to use on changing angles, etc. But he needs to build control, which can. There's only one way to build control, which is bowling a lot of overs, and he has to do it. There's no other. There's no shortcut to it, and they should not discard Harshit Rana either. But there has to be a proper monitoring outside test matches for the fast bowlers, whoever is in your pool, that you bowl these many overs. Perhaps the selectors can choose to visit only those matches where these guys are playing during the Ranji Trophy. But, have them bowling a certain number of overs, building loads, building control, not just look at the number of wickets they are getting, how they are bowling. So all this has to be kept in mind with these guys.
A couple of points I'd add. One, Harshit Rana, I felt like when he made that WACA debut that, wow, like I hadn't been that impressed by a debutant fast bowler in a really long time because he just looked, frighteningly good. But then, he plays in Adelaide and then all the shortcomings are immediately apparent. So, like, that extremely high ceiling is there and the floor he really needs to raise. And, the fact that he's not played since then suggests that he's not done it yet. And maybe a season of county cricket, it would help him. It would definitely help him. Uh, Arshdeep Singh, I really like the fact that he swings the ball both ways. I was really hoping to see him play at least one test in England. Uh, what has kept him out despite, the fact that there were possible openings for him to get a game, I don't know. I hope whatever that is sorted out and, I'm hearing that maybe he loses pace in his second and third spells, but I don't know. This is just stuff I'm hearing which is unverified, right? So I hope whatever it is that because he's got a lot of skill and he's sharp, at least, in white ball cricket, he's like his pace is fairly sharp. So and he's a left armer, which, which adds a lot. So I would be very excited to see him play at some point. One other guy is like who, as you mentioned, Dustin, who was included in squads, but he's not made his debut yet. He's played white ball cricket for India, but not red ball. Is Avesh Khan? He's got a really good first class record, and he's played 49 games. So there's something there, right? And when you watch him, he hits the pitch hard. He gets the ball moving. He has an interesting angle as well. From fairly wide of the crease, and I can see him, doing some damage if he gets it right. But you also see that there are times when his control is like, even in white ball cricket, kind of all over the place. So he's got potential for sure. So I will just throw that name into the mix as well.
Yeah, he's got a bit of personality as well, right? He
Hmm.
leads his side's bowling attack in IPL, which I think helps because he then takes up a lot of responsibility. One thing I'm not hearing with any of these guys is somebody who can bat at number 8, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, they're all pretty much number 10s and 11s. Maybe Arshdeep as a number 9. We'll see what the team management thinks of that. But
Do you remember the shot he played in that ODI, which India tied and then lost in the super over?
yeah. I think he fancies himself as a batter, Arshdeep. He thinks of himself as somebody who can bat higher than he does.
I think this problem is more. This problem India overstates in Test cricket, but it's a real problem in shorter formats for India that none of the fast bowlers can go out and hit a six. Not 1 6, but none of the fast bowlers is good for on a given day, like at least one or two innings of
Yeah.
chancy 30 runs in a
Like at
year.
least a Mark Wood level of batting is sufficient, I would say. Mark Wood's actually pretty good. He can hit some big sixes, but India doesn't have anybody even like that who can be a number 9 or number 10.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, so
I see other teams where you look at how comical Trent Bolt used to be when he first came in as a number 11, right?
yeah.
but he worked on his game enough to like become pretty useful. Like uh, to the I mean, he's hit more sixes from number 11 than anyone else. But he for India, he'd probably bat 9.
Hmm.
I don't see
I
that level of development with like the way Hazelwood bats. The
Yeah.
way Hazelwood hangs around and like you know that okay, he might get out, but it's not going to be for want of doing his getting behind the line and like making it as hard as possible with his limited skill for the opposition, which I don't see that level of improvement with the bat with other than Bumrah. I don't see that
I
level
think
of
Bumrah
Siraj,
seemed to have improved and then regressed again a little bit, to
yeah.
be honest.
And I think Siraj kind of at Lords, he
hmm,
showed that when the situation demands, I can do that.
That's a
Which is
fairly
why,
low base level upon which to be improving, though. Siraj's batting.
no, but I want to see that kind of application from them
hmm,
in every innings, even if it is 430 for 3.
yeah,
Why can't you bat for the other batter? It's you 430 for 3, you've rested enough. You just don't play casual shots. Let at least until there's a specialist batter there, don't play casual shots. And there's no better way of improving batting than facing all these fast bowlers in the middle, but with relatively less pressure on you. But playing it seriously, not like how India played the fast bowlers at Leeds.
yeah.
If they follow what Trent Paul did, I think a lot of them might go bird watching and watch the flamingos. That was the main improvement in
Or
Trent
if you
Paul's
want to
batting.
watch
Like,
flamingos, you can watch this podcast on YouTube, I
That's right.
think.
last question, which is I started off by talking about that quintet of fast bowlers India had in the previous generation, and I included Umesh Yadav in that because he played a big role in home tests. So there was Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, Ishant, Umesh. Is that just a special generation of bowlers that you can't replicate, or is there some sense that India may be able to create something like that in the next couple of years?
India should be. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. Like everything, sport, not forget everything, but sport will always keep getting, physically at least, sportsmen will keep getting better and better with every generation. This medical science will improve, your diets will improve, your know-how will improve. There's, of course, it was Bumrah is a freak who cannot be recreated. Uh, Ishant Sharma you remember how long it took him to develop, at least I think 40 tests to develop into the bowler he became. So Shami was again one of those rare guys who was self-motivated and who actually again it happened despite the system. Uh, but there was also we sometimes we forget that even then there was a system in the background that was doing so much for Indian team. Siraj was good on his debut because of that system. That A tours were working seamlessly. There was a lot of A matches, a lot of NCA was working. I think NCA was at its best at that time. It also had to do something with in a very it was actually a bureaucratic solution that the Supreme Court had found for BCCI when it put a committee of administrators there. But that bureaucratic solution actually ended up removing a lot of bureaucracy in the BCCI, where what Rahul Dravid, Virat Kohli, Ravi Shastri wanted, they got. They didn't have to, wait and keep making presentations and whatnot. So that system like really worked for India. They played the most number of away matches. They had the most number of camps, either at NCA or at zonal cricket academies, which has kind of discontinued. And I think Rahul Dravid famously said it in 2020 that the impact of it will not be visible now. The impact will be visible in 5 years' time, which is where we suddenly are, where we are now looking for the next fast bowler, but we don't have answers. So that is something that needs scrutiny, more scrutiny. What is India doing behind the scenes? Why does India not have a proper database of how many overs somebody's bowling anywhere? Why are the fast bowlers turning up injured at a test match? Not injured, but not fully fit at a test match, especially when he had just gone back home for a rehab on a shin injury. So all these things, there should be the scrutiny is actually what deserves more scrutiny is what is happening behind the scenes rather than the senior team.
Yeah. India's next A series, I think, is against Australia A starting middle of September at home. Australia A is coming here. So they will be playing two unofficial two unofficial tests or two red ball games there. So that's the next home series.
You don't need to wait for Australia to come also. You can organize, you can, you can have 3 red ball matches between your best 22, your first 15, leave them. The next 30 players, you can have,
Which
choose
is sort
next
of what
30.
they did with the Duleep Trophy
Yeah.
last time around, where they just had 4 teams instead of
Yeah,
the zone.
yeah.
Now it's going to be zonal again this year.
Yeah.
And you don't need to advertise it. You don't need to say anything. You just do it. You call up 30 players to NCA and you, behind closed doors, you have a match. Have 3 matches.
Yeah. Sounds like they need Sidharth in the think tanks for the future of the Indian cricket.
Please, BCCI. No, actually not.
Yeah. Actually, we need Sidharth here on the Rock and Roll It podcast. And we'll be coming to you guys again very shortly. Anything else, guys, that you wanted to talk about India's the future of Indian fast bowling?
I would just want to go back to since you mentioned like the quintet, from start of 2018 to end of 2021, India's fast bowlers collectively averaged 23.46, which is like better than any other team in that period, right? And
And
since
this includes home tests as well as
home,
away.
away, everything, yeah. I mean, they were incredible at home. Against South Africa, uh, India's fast bowlers averaged 17 point something as a collective, and South
Yeah.
Africa 70, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, they were so
that
good
was the,
against Bangladesh with the pink ball that, they were causing fights everywhere.
I mean, was that the test where there were like two concussion
Concussion
substitutes?
subs, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so since then, since that period where India were best in the world as a fast bowling unit, since the start of 2022, India are averaging 28.63 as a collective, which is like, what is that, fifth best in the world behind South Africa, Australia, West Indies, and England. So they've clearly fallen, and that number looks better than it is because Bumrah averages 17.46. And the next best among those who have played at least like 5 tests is Siraj at 32.34. So there has been a clear, uh, sense of something has changed and not for the better, yeah, so it needs to be addressed, and which is why we're doing this episode in the first place.
Yeah, I also just realized during this episode, I've totally done a Rohit Sharma and I've retired Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami, and Umesh Yadav. None of these guys are retired. They might make a return to the Indian team for all we know, and then we'll have to do another podcast. So, yeah, those guys are still playing red ball cricket. With Shami, you never know what his status is. We're just kind of assuming that India have to look at the next generation because even if these guys come back, it's not going to be for a prolonged period, you would think. Anyway, so we'll come back to you guys maybe with the next episode of this podcast. Who knows? Ishant Sharma may have returned to the Indian team, or a lot of things may have happened. Somebody may have shaved their beard, which would then mean that the entire character of the podcast would change. But that's been this episode of Rock and Roll It.
TV umpire to director, we have a review. Can you rock and roll it for me, please?